Today on Update News, the city and county begin the work to balance their budgets. The Wilmington Grand Prix is coming back, and a civil rights icon has died.
This is your city, your government, your station, your news. This is Update News.
Wilmington Mayor James Baker has laid out the plans for the last budget of his 12 years as mayor of the city. In an address to the members of City Council, Baker's fiscal year 2013 budget calls for no property tax increase and no employee layoffs. It does, however, include a 9% increase in water sewer tax.
Let me begin by announcing that this budget does not add any city employees to the unemployment rolls. As you know, I am not a fan of layoffs, and I have tried to avoid them when I could throughout my tenure as mayor. I will not add our own people to the unemployment lines and contribute to the drain on the local and national economy.
The $143.3 million operating budget is a $4 million increase over last year, due mainly to pension contributions that rose $2.9 million. The 9% increase in water sewer fees is actually less than the 11% that officials had previously predicted. A projected $5.5 million deficit has been cut to $2.75 million, which the mayor hopes to erase using money from previous budget surpluses. At-large Councilmember Bud Friel, who is chair of the City Council's Finance Committee, felt the mayor's proposal was reasonable, but still left open the door for some change.
Well, the positive side is obviously there's no property tax increase this year, which is good. Only 6 months ago, we were looking at probably a deficit of about $5.5 million, and with his budget proposal now, we've gotten that down to about 2.7. So if you want to say a deficit is positive, you know, it is less than what it was 6 months ago, so we have made some progress. The negatives from my standpoint are, you know, we are using our budget reserves to balance this budget. We have never done that before, but we are using some of our unassigned reserves. We still have our rainy day fund. We are not touching that, but that's a first for us. And the second thing that concerns me is, once again, it's a budget to get us through this fiscal year. And I think it does not address some of the things that I think we need to address as we look 3-5 years down the road. In our 5-year projections, the mayor has suggested, of course he will no longer be here, that the next mayor will have to have a property tax increase next year. And a sizable one. We'd be looking at around 15%. And even with that, we would just be about breaking even, and then the next years we would be in a deficit state again. I believe strongly that we need to continue to reduce the size of our workforce. I think right now we're about 1,134. I think we need to get down to about 1,100. It was suggested 6 months ago that we should reduce about 7 positions a year, and if we do it that way incrementally, we can do it through vacant positions, not layoffs, vacant positions. I was disappointed that they did not take that step in this budget, and I think that's a mistake, and I think it's just kind of pushing off some of the problems for future years.
In his remarks, Mayor Baker addressed the ongoing controversy of the city authorizing a $1 million letter of credit to assist in the construction of a hotel on the city's Christina riverfront.
Wilmington is prepared to commit to a $1 million letter of credit to assist the hotel project in achieving full bank financing. We are currently reviewing protections that would be included in the agreement to enable the city to recover its money if any portion of the letter of credit is ever needed for this project. It is important to note that a letter of credit is not a grant, but a type of loan guarantee or insurance policy that encumbers city funds for a defined period of time. The funds will eventually become unencumbered, and the city will have the money available for other economic development projects. A letter of credit would be backed by the city's Economic Development Strategic Fund, which was established by the administration and council soon after I took office in 2001. This letter of credit does not affect operating budget dollars that support daily government programs, services, and personnel.
The riverfront has been a plus for the city of Wilmington. If you look at how much we have invested in the riverfront, we have doubled that amount in return. So I think we need to keep investing in the riverfront. The one thing it has been missing is a quality hotel down there. And I think the outfit that they're talking with is top notch, and I think could be a real plus for the riverfront and continue to be a plus for the city of Wilmington. I think the city needs to continue to encourage that kind of development down at the riverfront, and if there's a way for us to assist, we should do it. And we've done it before for hotels. We did it for the DoubleTree, and we've done it for the Sheraton in past years. So it's not unusual for the city to try to leverage some investment dollars and help out.
Wilmington City Council will review the mayor's proposal in budget hearings scheduled through the month of April. And Councilmember Friel encourages public participation in the process.
Our citizens, our employees, any of our stakeholders, if they have ideas, to please try to get them to us. They can send them anonymously if they want, but they can always send us emails, call us. I'm always looking for suggestions and ideas on how we can do a better job and, as I said, be more efficient and effective as a city in delivering services.
The city's budget hearings are open to the public and will be held in the council chambers of the Lewis L. Redding City County Building on French Street. All of the meetings will be televised live here on Channel 22 and on our website, WITN22.org. Newcastle County Executive Paul Clark unveiled his 2013 budget, and like the city's, it includes no new taxes or layoffs.
Tonight, I am equally pleased to present to you a $166.6 million general fund budget for fiscal year 2013 that is balanced, contains no tax increase, spends no money from our reserve account, and makes no service cuts or layoff. Let me repeat that. A balanced budget, no tax increase, no spending down reserves, no layoffs, and no cuts in vital services.
In his address to Newcastle County Council, Clark said that deficit projections for the 2011 to 2015 fiscal years has been reduced by over $40 million. The latest forecast put the county at over $27.1 million in debt by the year 2015. 90% of the revenue collected by the county is through property taxes, real estate transfer taxes and permits, and fees related to land use, and the economy has hit the county hard. The average sale price of a home declined for the fourth straight year, and new construction has been scarce. The budget proposed by Clark for the upcoming fiscal year is $166.6 million, nearly $3 million more than the current year. The county also plans to hire 6 more police officers and 8 9/11 operators. Newcastle County will hold budget hearings through April that lead to a vote on the proposal in May. The county's fiscal year begins July 1st.
This is so exciting! Oh my God!
With a great deal of excitement, Rashmi Rangan helped open the Stepping Stones Community Federal Credit Union on the city's east side. Sponsored by the Delaware Community Reinvestment Action Council, or DCRAC, Stepping Stones has the goal of helping local residents enter mainstream banking and provide them with the financial tools to improve their own economic situations.
25 years ago, former Mayor Jim Sills established DCRAC, and for a lot of those years, DCRAC was out there nudging, pushing, shoving, trying to get the community to recognize a whole group of citizens that were not being taken care of with respect to banking services and other financial literacy programs. And they've just done tremendous work. And I think today is the culmination where now, after we open today the credit union, they'll be able to help those people provide those banking services, if you will, individually.
This federal credit union is about laying out those stepping stones that will allow folks who are fighting to have access to banking services, to counseling, to lending, to home ownership, to get them on the path towards sustainable, positive, strong living as elements in our community. I can't think of a better place for all of us to be gathered today. If you think about what DCRAC does in this community, and Dom, thank you to everybody who leads DCRAC on their board, as volunteers, as contributors, whether it's the fair housing counseling, the financial literacy, the advocacy or the engagement in our broader community, DCRAC has been a blessing.
New members for the credit union, like United States Representative John Carney, can join for as little as $5, which also gives them access to the other financial education programs offered by DCRAC.
It's important to the community because it provides an opportunity and a resource where the community can not only learn how to be financially stable, but also an institution that would help them to grow to financial stability, to show them how that they can make their money work for them and not them just work for their money, to show them how to save, to help them to be able to get that American dream, that they can save and they can come to an institution that respects their plight in life, but understands that it works along with them to be able to get the things that they need to have a good quality life for their family.
Roughly about 20% of Americans, broadly, are unbanked or underbanked. They get access to loans through payday lenders. They get access to finance in ways that are incredibly, at times, expensive, inaccessible, and difficult. And those numbers go up, those percentages go up amongst communities of color, amongst single mothers, amongst those who struggle most in this modern economy. This federal credit union, this Stepping Stones federal credit union, will allow them to have a floor beneath them that will give them lift, that will give them brightness and give them hope.
The Stepping Stones Federal Credit Union on Church Street is open Monday through Friday from 3 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. One of the pioneers for civil rights in America has died. Reverend Maurice Moyer passed away on March 6th at the age of 93. From his marching with Martin Luther King in 1963 to founding the first black Presbyterian church in Delaware, to serving as a role model for an immeasurable number of people through his church and political activities, Reverend Moyer impacted countless lives throughout Wilmington and beyond.
Reverend Moyer was such a brilliant man and such a kind man and very, very easy to understand and get along with. The main thing that I have always tried to do is respect those who came before me, because I wouldn't have been mayor, or no other African American would have been mayor, without these strong giants and great people like Maurice Moyer, Reverend Moyer, because they had to pave the way. They had to sacrifice. They had to figure out how to make the changes work.
Always just good memories of him. You could always count on him for support and advice, regardless of what it was. He never judged you, but he was always there to assist you and do the best. And then I thought what was so terrific about him too was a person that had lost both his sons, and yet he continued to go on and help other people. And I'm not sad that he's gone. I'm just so glad that I had the opportunity to meet with him and be able to share his vision and be able to develop my own vision and character.
In 1963, Moyer was instrumental in changing Delaware's discriminatory innkeepers law, which allowed business owners to refuse service to anyone at any time. Moyer also took part in one of the violent civil rights marches from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama in 1965. In recent years, Moyer was honored with having the Maurice J. Moyer Academy named after him. Senator Thomas Carper reflected on the passing of Reverend Moyer by releasing a statement saying that he was a great man and an inspiration to us all and a dear friend. He fought for equal rights for Delawareans of all backgrounds throughout his long career, and I'm saddened to hear of his passing. I greatly admire him, and he will always be remembered for his work to obtain justice for all. 2 Wilmington elementary schools have opened centers that will offer services to improve the lives of children and their families. The Student Parent Community Centers, located in the Warner and Shortridge elementary schools, will offer services that are not traditionally found in school, but are a necessity for the community. Visitors to the centers will be able to take part in a variety of ways, including social services, immunizations, medical and dental testing, eye examinations, and family therapy. Modeled after programs run in Chicago and New York City, the Student Parent Community Centers are aiming to be a safe and reliable place for school staff to send children or families that are in need. Warner Elementary and Shortridge Elementary schools are located in the Red Clay Consolidated School District. Mayor James Baker helped the Jefferson Awards launch the 2012 Youth Service Challenge in a ceremony in the Wilmington City Council chambers. The Youth Service Challenge is looking for local schools, youth groups, and faith-based organizations to submit service projects that they are passionate about. Organizers of the event hope to highlight the ways that young Americans are making a difference in their communities and in the world around them, and for youth to embrace service as a way of life for all of their lives. If you are interested in taking part in this year's Youth Service Challenge, visit the Jefferson Awards online. Submissions are due by April 30th, 2012. Bank of America has pledged to bring 500 new jobs to Delaware within the next 3 years. The North Carolina-based banking giant also announced the donation of one of the institution's 4 downtown properties to help with the formation of a community education building. The 9-story Bracebridge 4 building, which sits at the corner of 11th and King Streets, became Bank of America's asset after the acquisition of MB&A 6 years ago. It will be turned over to the nonprofit Longwood Foundation, which in turn will create a new nonprofit organization to operate the property. The building will be converted to support new and existing charter schools. Transfer of the property will take place in 2013, and employees who currently work in the building will be moved to other locations within the city or state. According to a statement released by Bank of America, the 500 new jobs are a direct result of the collaboration with Governor Jack Markell, Mayor James Baker, the General Assembly, and Delaware's congressional delegation that all worked with the bank to encourage growth in the state. Financial services company Citi has opened its new office at the Brandywine building in Wilmington. The downtown location will house employees from Citi credit cards and Citi retail services. Last year, the state of Delaware awarded Citi a $3 million grant to bring the institution to the area. Wilmington also provided Citi with $390,000 in low-interest loans that will convert to grants if the company employs at least 155 people through 2016. Currently, 145 people work at the Brandywine site. Citi hopes to have 260 employees working in the building by the end of this year. In Newcastle County, Citi employs nearly 1,800 people. Wilmington-based St. Francis Healthcare has leased 28,000 square feet of space in the Shipyard Center, formerly the Shipyard Shops, to open a site for a senior health care program. Known as Living Independently for Elders, or LIFE, the program will provide services to those whom would otherwise need nursing home care. Patients will be able to remain in the community, in their own home or the home of loved ones, and still benefit from the care provided by St. Francis. With this latest addition, the area, which had once housed all retail stores and restaurants, has been transformed. The Shipyard Center, now 92% occupied, and is home to a bank, a fitness center, and a university, among other businesses. St. Francis Healthcare will employ about 75 staffers when it opens this fall. A new greening project introduced by the city will save Wilmington an estimated $18 million in energy and disposal costs over the course of 20 years. The new project, which is based at the Hay Road Wastewater Treatment Plant on the city's east side, is phase 2 of a $50.5 million greening initiative. The project captures methane gas to create a renewable fuel source that will continuously power the plant. It will bypass the purchasing of more costly electricity from a power plant, saving an estimated $900,000 annually in energy costs. The new initiative also includes a system for reducing biosolids produced by the plant. The Hay Road plant is a major source of greenhouse gas emissions, and this new project will reduce the production of the gas by 13,000 metric tons per year. Funding for the project is expected to come from municipal bonds or through a municipal lease. Wilmington firefighters are going door to door in city neighborhoods to make sure homes are equipped with working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. The firefighters visited the neighborhoods around 4th and Washington Streets, talking to residents about fire safety, giving out fire prevention materials, and installing the detectors in homes that needed them.
We're just trying to prevent problems before they affect the residents' lives. And we're step by step installing whatever they need. If they don't want us to install them, we'll give them the detectors with the affirmation that they will have someone install them.
Members of the Wilmington Fire Department will visit neighborhoods throughout the city in the upcoming weeks and months in an ongoing effort to prevent a needless tragedy.
It puts a face on the fire department other than when there's an emergency. We usually see people at their worst when we respond. This gives us a chance to dialogue and interact with the residents to see what their needs are as far as fire prevention education. We just visited with one resident who works at the Latin American Community Center. We're going to provide her with information so they can dispense it to the neighbors. The overall program is designed to contact as many neighbors as possible, citizens of the city, to make sure that they have their what they need for fire prevention.
Call the Wilmington Fire Department Smoke Detector Hotline at 576-4361 to receive more information about obtaining a smoke detector and the department's ongoing campaign to save lives. Mayor James Baker and Tim Crawlbay, Wilmington's Director of Real Estate and Housing, cut the ribbon on a newly renovated townhome in the city's Midtown Brandywine neighborhood. The once derelict property at 1226 West Street was purchased by the city for $120,000 at a sheriff's sale in 2009. The property was then transferred to the Wilmington Housing Partnership, which put nearly $167,000 toward rehabilitating the home. Money for the reconstruction came from the Wilmington Strategic Housing Opportunity Fund, which uses federal funds to help stabilize neighborhoods, a point Crawlbay feels is a necessity for keeping neighborhoods healthy.
If you have one or two properties that are in bad shape, very disrepair, it doesn't take long for those one or two properties to have a real negative impact on a stable neighborhood. And so that's what we looked at here. You know, part of our neighborhood efforts is to address properties that are in poor shape and poor condition in stable neighborhoods. And so when this opportunity arose, we thought it made a lot of sense. Anyone who's familiar with the Midtown Brandywine neighborhood knows it's a high home ownership area. It's a very stable neighborhood, and so we didn't want to see a situation where one vacant property becomes 3 or 4, and now all of a sudden you look at a situation where the perception of the neighborhood becomes a lot different, and you create broader problems in terms of destabilization in the neighborhood.
Renovation of the 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath property took 10 months and was completed in January. It is currently listed with a sale price of $250,000. 20 riders from across the country joined 6-time national professional racer Tim Johnson for his Ride on Washington, a 5-day bike ride from Boston to the nation's capital, which included a stop at the Bike Boutique in downtown Wilmington. The event, which leads to the National Bike Summit in Washington, is an effort to raise awareness for the positive impact of bicycling and the importance of having easier accessibility to it. Funds raised by the riders will benefit the Bikes Belong Foundation that promotes bicycling and creating safe places to ride them.
We're riding now to try and raise awareness for what bikes can do for everybody, whether it's people that ride for sport, for fitness, for transportation, for an activity that they do with their children, whatever. You know, we're all connected by the bike, and this 500-mile ride has been a combination of literally every kind of riding along the entire East Coast. We're combining, you know, the biggest urban centers all along the East Coast. I live in Boston, down in New York, Hartford, you know, here we are in Wilmington, and you really can ride a bike almost anywhere. With the support that we're getting from Bikes Belong and with our support at the government level, we're getting these projects that allow better, easier, safer cycling for everybody. You know, it's for those guys that are out there sweating like us, but also for the kids that are going to go out and ride after school today.
There's this problem in America that when people talk about bikes, they feel, why don't you go out to Idaho and do that? And we'll just drive our cars here. When really, bikes belong in cities. When you really look at where bikes can really be applied for great usage, you want compact urban design. You want transit to be there as a backup when it's snowing and you can't get home on your bike, or you have that second flat tire. Transit is a great backup. The East Coast is really designed to be the most bike-friendly and progressive place for cycling. And I just want to, what I'm just so impressed is that people in Delaware get it.
According to Shailene Bott, Delaware's Secretary of Transportation and a speaker at the National Bike Summit, Governor Jack Markell is committed to making Delaware the first state in biking.
The governor proposed and committed last year $5 million for bike trail spending and has proposed another $10 million this year. And what that will mean are actual projects in all 3 counties that will go to construction this year, which will allow bikers all across the state to ride. And our goal is to connect and to give contiguous paths so that people can ride to work, can ride to recreational activities, because what we're looking at, especially in an era of $4 a gallon gasoline, is people are looking for options. And it is our responsibility as a state to provide safe alternatives for them to driving alone in their vehicles.
The appearance by Tim Johnson and the Bikes Belong team helped introduce the lineup for this year's Grand Prix weekend. Once again, pro cyclists from around the world will be descending on the city for the Wilmington Grand Prix. The 6th annual event begins Friday, May 18th, with a time trial through Brandywine Park, which this year includes a difficult climb up Monkey Hill next to the Brandywine Zoo. On Saturday, May 19th, men and women racers will begin and end their event at the Grand Opera House on Market Street. The day also includes downtown races featuring national and local youth riders. The next day, Sunday, May 20th, cyclists will participate in a 62-mile ride that begins at the Delaware Art Museum. The Governor's Ride, a 50-mile trek through the city, will also begin and end at the Art Museum that day. Last year, the Grand Prix attracted more than 20,000 people to the city, who not only enjoyed the races, but also took advantage of the free family entertainment options available along Market Street. The event generated more than $950,000 in economic impact for Wilmington in 2011. For information on this year's Grand Prix, visit www.wilmingtongrandprix.com. St. Patrick's Day came a week early to the city, but that didn't stop the celebration. Due to a scheduling conflict at St. Patrick's Catholic Church, the Irish Culture Club of Delaware held the 37th annual parade on the Saturday before the traditional holiday. We'll leave you today with some of the sights and sounds of that celebration that begins every year with painting King Street green. Thanks for watching.